Namaste. Hello everyone. Welcome to Shalgulhati, Shiva and Mysticism for another episode of Monday with Mahadev. Today I'm going to share with you a picture from the net which is very well known and very well loved for many years, and it has a great legend behind it, and I will like to talk to you about this painting. Here we see that Ramji has made a shivling and he's praying to it. Lakshmanji is behind him loyally praying to it, and Lord Shiva is looking at Sri Ram very kindly, compassionately from the skies, which means that he's giving his blessing. Now we all know this story. The story is that in the days of the Ramayana, where Ram and Lakshman and Sita were doing their vanvas, which is exile, and has been ordained by their father Dashrath, and somewhere in between, the great king Ravan abducted Sita and kept her captive in his own kingdom, which is Sri Lanka, across the ocean from India. And of course, Ramji wanted to get his beloved wife back, and he was ready to wage battle, a war, or anything that it takes to get Sita back and get back his prestige and do justice to this very unfortunate event which Ravan had done. And he had with him his brother Lakshman, like a shadow, and he had a Vanar Sena, an army of monkeys and apes, because they were about the only people who were found there, but they were fiercely loyal to Ram and fiercely devoted to right cause in life, and they were ready for battle. And the story further says that between the tip of India where they were and Sri Lanka where they had to go, there was an ocean. So they had to make a bridge, and these Vanars picked up boulders and threw them in the ocean painstakingly, and the boulders magically floated and made alignment with each other, just like in quantum physics we have atoms which align and make molecules, and then molecules align and make bigger elements, and then the elements can align and make things. And therefore they miraculously made the Ram Setu, a bridge between India and Sri Lanka. So everyone knew it is only a matter of time when Ramji will go with his army, engage Ravan in battle, and defeat him and get his wife back. But as was the tradition, Ramji knew that this being the greatest event in his life, made a Shivlinga and prayed to it, because he wanted to have the blessings of Mahadev. And that is the picture that we have seen, and the rest we know is history. There was a very fierce battle, and the great Ravan, with his tremendous army, his powerful brothers, his powerful son, and of course his own great power of 10 heads. But in the end, he was defeated, and Sita came back to Sri Ram. That is the story, and this place was called Rameshwaram. Ramji, when he prayed, proclaimed that Shiva is his Lord. Rameshwaram, Ram ke Ishwar, the God of Ram. And many of us go there for a holy pilgrimage. It is one of the Jyotirlingas, which means it is recognized to be a place where, because of the intercession of Shiva, a great event took place. In this case, the success of Ramji. But there is another lesser known story which I want to share with you. Now, after Ramji had done his prayer, and of course Mahadev loved him very much and he would shower his blessings, but Ramji, belonging to a royal family, knew how to do things with vidhi, which is tradition. And when the Rajas and Maharajas did a very big yagya and invoked their gods for a very big event, they would like to have a Pandit to also do a lot of prayer and invoke God in Sanskrit or the Dev Bhasha, so that God would be pleased and everything would be done within a format, a tradition. We can always pray to God from our heart. We do not need to know very sacred things, very sacred formats. But when there is a big event, and if it is possible, we like to get somebody like a Pandit who's steeped in that knowledge and who can do the honors for us. So a kind of proclamation was sent around that a Panditji was required to invoke Mahadev. But that place at the tip of India, there were hardly any Pandits or any people around who could do this. And the Vanars, fiercely loyal as they were, did not know how to do this, and they were looking at each other, what is going to happen now? And lo and behold, one person turned up and said, I will do the honors, I will recite some very sacred shlokas for Lord Shiva to be pleased. And that person was Ravan himself. He came from Sri Lanka to this place in India, Kanyakumari, and he said, I will do the honors, I will pray to Lord Shiva for Ramji's success. And Ramji, the compassionate God that he was, looked at Ravan and asked him, do you know what that will mean? The ramification of your action? And Ravan said, yes, I know, Ramji. It will mean that you will be definitely successful and I will be killed in battle. And then Ramji said, then why would you do that? Why would you invite your own death? And Ravan replied, because, Ramji, I am a great bhakt of Mahadev and I cannot spare any opportunity to be able to pray to him, invoke him, and this shivling which you have made, it must be consecrated with the right vidhi, and I will do it no matter what it will mean for me. And this is a beautiful legend, like I said, not so well known, but the message is so beautiful. Ravan knew that he will be killed in battle, especially after Lord Shiva has been invoked for Ramji's success. As it is, Ramji was an avatar of Vishnu and he would have defeated Ravan no matter how powerful he was. But with the blessings of Mahadev and then the invocations of a yagya, it was 200% sure. But Ravan chose this. The message is that all along, Ravan, who was very powerful, very learned, and he ran a good kingdom, he had abundance of everything, and he had 10 heads, he should have been very intelligent, and he was. But one event led to another. There was an event where Shrupnakha, his sister, was involved, and she felt slighted by Ram and Lakshman, and that led to the abduction of Sita by Ravan, and then it led to this war. So Ravan all along played out a role which he realized that he has to play. His sister was slighted, so he had to fight for her. He abducted Sita, but many accounts, in fact most accounts, say that he was a very honorable man and that he kept Sita in the safe custody of women wardens and gave her all the respect. In the end, he realized that he has played out the role of life, the cards that he was dealt, but he has in the bargain done something which is very wrong. He has abducted Sita, who is the mother goddess herself, and he has to atone for this. In the end, he knew that he may never get God's pardon. So he became very wise. He didn't remain penny wise and pound foolish. He realized we all have to die, but before I die, let me make amends. not only will Mahadev be pleased, also Sri Ram will remember that I had to play out a role, and in the end I atoned for it. And as we saw, that when finally Ravan is killed on the battlefield, it is Ram himself who tells Lakshman, go and hear the words of wisdom, prostrate to this man, because he is and was a great bhakt of Mahadev, and he was doing a role play which was very bad for us. But at the end of it, he chose the bigger picture. He chose the blessing of Mahadev, even if it meant his death. So all along, Ravan, who favored his bodily prowess, who favored his big kingdoms and his power, at the end of it, finally, when he knew that the battle will come, the day of judgment will come for him, he chose to invoke God, even at the cost of losing everything. So, such a story is what complements the main story of Rameshwaram. Such a story is what tells us that we all come from Mahadev, we all have to go there. It is only in the in-between, which we call life, that our atoms and molecules and thoughts and emotions, they tie up to make out a play, a leela. But before we are done with this play, we must all find our connect back to Mahadev. We must not only find atonement, which is forgiveness for our wrongdoings, but at-one-ment, which is being in the proximity of Shivaness forever. I hope you liked this video. Be with me here again next Monday, and I will come back with yet another Shiva wisdom for you. Om Namah Shivaya.